Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to Kottabos Space Program, where today we are having a look at yet another wonderful mod, this time in the form of Survey Transponder, which is being made by forum user Taniwa, and what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a Survey Transponder, which allows you to track the airdropped packages that you release from your planes, and well, that is just glorious and has so many wonderful potential uses, from things like helping you with awkwardly located survey contracts to even building a navigation waypoint system for yourself. The sky is really the limit, so let's just jump right on into the spaceplane hangar and take a look at what all this mod does have to offer us. Now, at the moment, with this small little mod, there's only two parts, the first of which being the actual Survey Transponder, which is in fact a small, tiny little probe core in the 0.625 meter size variety, which can be found here in the Science tab, and you just click this thing, and apparently it responds to whistles, and it is, as I said, an unmanned command pod, requires 1.7 electric charge per minute, and of course has the little transponder system right there, and this baby, well, it's tiny, again, like I said, 0.625 meters, and yes, here is the somewhat strange little model. I find it odd that there's kind of like these ripples in it, but it's, you know, it's a passable model. This is version 0.2.2 of this mod, so it's still in an early stage of development. So hopefully this model and texturing will get better in the future, but what is quite cool about it is you can rename it from in here, which is very fun, because the intention of these survey transponders is you have a much larger aircraft, and then you have these that you can release from said aircraft. You can attach it to whatever payload you're dropping onto the surface of a planet or whatever you're doing, and whenever this survey transponder gets released, it is and becomes its own unmanned command pod, and you can rename it here already so that once it does get released, it has that specific name. We can set it to whatever we want. It's that, and boom, that's what that transponder is now named, and that is what it will be in the larger world once it is released from the aircraft. Now, the second part that we have in this is in the utility, and it's, again, not the most beautiful or wonderful thing in the world, but early stages of the mod, it can be forgiven, and that is a small inline storage container, which is of the same 0.625 meter size that the transponder is in, and this is quite cool because it does give you a tiny little cargo bay that you can store some things in, because of course this is named Survey Transponder, so a major intended use of this thing is as a survey probe. You fly over a location, release one of these from your airplane, it lands, and then you have the ability to run scientific equipment that's stowed safely away inside of this service container. Now, the problem with it is that its crash tolerance isn't that great. I mean, it's 14 meters per second, which isn't bad, but at the same time, it's not as high as I would want, frankly, from something that's supposed to be a droppable survey equipment. You do really hope that it would be a bit tougher. Now, the probe core itself actually is a little bit tougher. What was it? So no, actually it is crash tolerance 14 meters per second. Interesting, because when I've been testing it outside, the survey transponder seems to survive much more often than this does if I, for instance, mess up my parachutes, which happens from time to time. But yes, these two parts are all that you do have in this mod at the moment, but what they can do in tandem is quite wonderful. So what we're going to do is mess around with it with a little Ares 3A surveyor aircraft that I built earlier. This is my favorite, just basic airplane in the game, and oh god, I love the new Mark 1 cockpit. It is just gorgeous in the new update. But yes, on the back of this baby, I have plopped onto it two of these survey probes, and one of which being named Surveyor 2, which thankfully these things do get saved when you do save these crafts. So I named that one Surveyor 2 earlier, and that one Surveyor 1 earlier, so that the Surveyor 1 will release first, Surveyor 2 will release second, and it'll be out in the world as those names. And so let us just take this out to launch and show you how this all works and talk a little bit about some of the potential uses. Now, of course, again, the primary sort of intended use for this thing is as a Surveyor Transponder. The sort of intention was for those awkwardly located survey contracts that you get sometimes, where it tells you to survey a certain part of the planet that's odd to get to, where, you know, instead of trying to land your craft there, you can just drop some of these things over the location and hope that it all goes well. But what we first need to do is actually take off our airplane, and then we can drop some of these babies. And it's quite fun. I really do enjoy how this whole thing works, and it's quite useful. So let's get off the ground. I'm actually going to keep the gears down so it slows us down a little bit, also throttle down. And let's just go ahead and release our first Surveyor and count as we're doing it, because within about 2.2 seconds, things should happen. So when we first activate it, it releases, there we go, our parachute has released, and bam, it automatically targets that Survey Transponder and also brings up this little UI. And right here we can see that we have that targeted right now. It is Surveyor 1. It is currently flying in the air and currently at an altitude of roughly 280 meters and is currently falling at 3 meters per second. That's what all these numbers mean here. You've got the name of the craft, its current condition, what its altitude is, and what its speed is. And it will slowly fall to the earth and be all nice and safe. Oh god, I probably should have released it from a lower altitude, because that will be a little bit before it does finally land. But oh god, let's not crash in the meantime. And while we're waiting, let's drop Surveyor 2. We'll release it here, so it'll have a little bit shorter of a distance to land. Hopefully the parachute takes in time. Take. Okay, there we go. Lovely. And you can see that it is now targeting that particular Surveyor, but we can still see Surveyor 1 in this UI as well, because this UI will show you however many transponders are currently within range, which is something that I really like about this mod, that adds a little bit of extra ingenuity that is a possibility for you to use with this. As earlier, what I mentioned, one of the potential uses is to build some sort of navigation waypoint system, which I quite like the idea of, and thanks to this, it'll just catch whatever survey transponders are currently nearby. We can see it, we can target it from here, like say if we want to switch to Surveyor 1, oh god, don't crash. We're back to Surveyor 1 now, or we could switch back to Surveyor 2, etc. That is all we need to do to go between them, and it will keep those Surveyor transponders going until we get a certain distance away. So if we throttle ourselves up at about 2.5-ish kilometers, I believe, oh yes, about 2, we start to get no signal from the transponders. We're still there, we can still kind of see them, but we have no signal from them because we're too far away. So what we need to do is get back closer, and what it will do is it'll pop up that UI again, and we will be able to see them once more, but to do so, you do have to get back in range. So if we get back into about 2 kilometers, I'm actually going to throttle down because we're going to land while we're out of here. Oh, there we go. There is the first of the 2 surveyors. Oh god, I'm going fast. Oh boy. Oh god, Jebediah is dead. Oh well, we no longer need Jebediah. Let's go to one of the surveyors. Boom. There we are. Because remember, this survey transponder is a probe core, so this is its own independent craft now. So even though Jebediah has met a fiery death, oh boy, we can still stay out here in the world because this is functioning as a probe core just like any other. And while in here, we can still go and target Surveyor 2, which is over there, so that we can see it. Now, we can't, of course, target ourselves because, well, it's ourself, but any other survey transponders in the area we can see and we can target from this UI, and of course, as I mentioned, see their various stats. Now, of course, the intended use for this thing is now that we are landed, we can pop this baby open, and I've got some science equipment in there, and we can, log some seismic data. There we go, keep it. And then once we're finished, we can, you know, turn on this antenna and transmit data, even though that doesn't really matter because I'm in sandbox mode right now. And bam, we have surveyed stuff on this world with this particular transponder. So this is quite a cool use and sort of the primary use of this mod. You can just fly around the entire planet dropping these things all over the place. And if you do, for instance, want to recover them at any point, once you drive or fly close to the location, the transponder will get picked up by your ship. You'll be able to see it, target it, and guide yourself right into wherever it is for you to then pick it up and do whatever you need with that particular probe, which is quite cool. Now, as for the actual probe features, you may have noticed, and I probably should have talked about sooner, that this probe has some interesting little blades coming out of it. These are quite a cool little feature. Now, once you release the probe from your craft, it automatically deploys these things. You can't actually control if they are extended or not. They automatically just come out whenever you activate this thing and it starts falling to the earth. And their intended use is to stop this transponder and whatever it's attached to from rolling down hills. So if we were to start rolling down this hill, one of these blades hopefully will catch, and it will stop it from going further. Now, it only really works with moderately sloped hills. If you're on, like, the mountains in the background there, you're probably still screwed. But, nonetheless, a good little addition. Really does help when you're dropping these things down to have that little extra help with making sure it's all slowed down. Now, I wanted to show you one more thing, but since I did try and transmit data, our craft is dead. So, over to the other surveyor, which is a little bouncy. There we go. Another thing that these transponders can do, if you don't want this transponder to be a thing anymore, that Surveyor 1 technically will eventually lose its signal because it has no power, but for right now it seems to still be kind of going with just enough. But if, for instance, with this Surveyor 2, we don't want this as a transponder anymore. We're done with it. We're just finished. We can disable the transponder. There we go. No signal. And if we do go back to Surveyor 1, which is bouncing, we still have no signal, and next time you do load in, there it went away, it won't be on that list anymore. Now, an oddity of the GUI, it sometimes leaves that gap where it used to be, so if you have multiple transponders in an area, your UI here might be a little bit big, but if you exit out and then come back to this probe, it will be gone later on, which is always good. And yeah, it's just a cool little tool. Now, again, the primary use for this thing is probably going to be, for most people, survey. And it is very, very useful for that because, like I said, just attach a crap load of these to an airplane, fly around a planet, drop them, and then if you need be, or you need to, rather, you can always go and collect them once again by using this UI to find them, which is quite cool. But there are other uses for it. I was playing around earlier on another one of my save files where I was on a base on the moon, and I used to drive between those two bases just because, honestly, I kind of like doing it. It was Moon Road Trucker, basically. And I decided to drop some of these transponders along the way. I actually had a rover that would drop these transponders, and every 2 kilometers I would drop one so that you always had one in view here so that I knew exactly where I needed to drive. Now, I wouldn't suggest that on a large scale, like doing that across the damn planet, because that would take far too many survey probes, but between short distances, I thought it was quite a cool, fun little idea. For instance, you could make a flight path of transponders out to the island runway there. That might be an interesting thing to do. And again, whenever you are within range, you'll pick up that Surveyor transponder. You can click it to target it and, guide yourself into whatever you need to happen in that area. And it's a fun little use of this mod that may not have been thought about when the mod maker was creating it. But other than that, it is just a fun, useful, cool little mod that adds an interesting new feature into the game that I quite love, and it's fairly simplistic with its parts, though again, I would like to see some slightly better texturing on this stuff, but oh well, it's still early on. Hopefully that'll improve in the future. But yeah, that is going to be it for this particular mod. That's really all I can show you with it. So if you would like to try out this mod for yourself, you can check out the link in the description as always, and I definitely hope you guys check it out because it's wonderful. I'm having a lot of fun with this mod, and I can't wait to use it more. And if you have any fun new uses that perhaps I haven't thought of for these survey transponders, I would love to hear it. So comment, tweet me, Facebook, whatever you do. And yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and of course that you do come back for the next. But until then, thank you for watching, my friends, and as always, have a good one.